believe the party is not going to be very relevant in this election. The ruling party. We don't have fuel, we don't have money, we are kidnapped, we are insecure. So people will now want to get for themselves a good life. So for us in the Social Democratic Party, our intention and the purpose is to right all these abnormalities that have rendered us subhuman. And you will remember that Moshood Kashima Abiola was a father of this party, and we all know as a fact that he won the election then. It's still the same party. We are the hope of the people of this country. And our intention is to come in here and make sure that we fulfill Jeremy Bentham's definition of good governance, which is the greatest happiness of the greatest number. We'll give you health, we'll give you better medical care, we'll do the roads, we'll secure your lives, and we'll ensure that you can move from point A to point B at any point in time. This is the slogan of the party, this is the purpose of our party, and we can assure you that we intend to deliver at this election. Electing the deputy governor of the Social Democratic Party. Number one, me, I'm a Muslim, and I'm a man, which is very obvious. So we needed to balance it all by looking for a suitable lady to complement me, and necessarily a Christian. And the deputy governor of the Social Democratic Party is a Christian who had been a member of the Redeemed Church of Christ for more than 25 years. So we have it balanced there. We are not in this other mentality of Muslim. This is number one. Number two, she's also an Olori Oba. She's the wife of the king of the Oba of Ekpe. And the reason for that is we want to believe that we require some kind of balancing. Me, I'm an academician, I'm a bureaucrat. She's a traditional person. So we can complement it, and this was the basis for choosing our candidates. And we can assure you that in my absence, she's cerebral, she's went to school, she's a retired teacher, and she's people-friendly. She will complement me when I'm there, even when I'm in government. She has a very important role to play in the Social Democratic Party governance in Lagos State. She's the wife of the king of Ekpe, although the king says, Olori Oba, we have issues there, which I don't want to discuss. You know, the constitution we have is not a people's constitution. It's just a document that is drafted the way and manner that is drafted. As it is there, those rights that you have tabled there are more observed in the aberration than in compliance. And I tell you for free, we go to schools. Me, I'm an example of a good product of a public school system. I attended a Ireti primary school in Ikoyi public school. My father paid nothing. I attended Methodist Boys High School. My father paid close to nothing. Federal School of Arts and Science, absolutely nothing. And I ended up University of Benin we had nothing. But I found myself sending my son to schools where I pay 1.5, 1.3 million naira, 1.3 million naira per term. So it's an abnormal situation. The public school system in this state has totally collapsed. I went to my primary school about 6 months ago. There were no teachers there. There were even no students. So what we need to do now is to recalibrate the minds of the Nigerians and to ensure that we do what is right. We need to establish colleges of education where you have teachers that will go to these schools. We need to bring in the scholarship scheme whereby people can actually have their children in school at very minimal cost. Our public hospitals, how many government hospitals exist in this state, for example, that we can say is funded by government? There are very few. So all the problems we are having is because the government has abandoned the healthcare system to the private sector. And the primary responsibility deserved the private sector, man, is to make money. The Nigerian police, you know, flooding in Lagos State, you know this Equa Atlantic City they built there, the one very close to this place. The impact assessment shows that it was a wrong decision for some money bags to create a city for themselves without a city. Now what they did now is they have altered the ocean bed. They have altered it right from from Victoria Island down to Ekpe. So you see flooding. The flooding they did not experience before that city was put in place is what we now have. So the entire Victoria Island can go down because of the problem of this alteration of the alteration of the ocean bed. So what we need to do is to again look at the problems that have been created. The Lagos State Government Physical Planning Division, they have awarded land to people and they have built on canals. That's what is going on in Lekki and other places. So there is no water flow. The ocean, the gutters are blocked. So what we are going to do, we are going to re-energize the Ministry of Physical Planning. We're also going to work with the relevant institutes. We're not going to create anything. We're not going to bring in any new laws. What we will do is we'll work with what we have now and ensure that the water moves, because it's where there is water everywhere. And I can assure you, after 1 year of our own administration, dovetailing into the second year, we are going to have a better system. But we are going to reappraise the governments. In Lagos State, we have not just local governments, but LCDAs. And this is where the problem comes from. Because money comes from the center to the local government by way of direct allocation. But when it gets to Lagos State, it has to be cannibalized. Because the number of people who are supposed to have this money, what they have on the ground is more. This is the genesis of the problem. When Tinubu created LCDs, if you can remember historically, President Obasanjo withheld the resources of the local government on the fact that that creation was unconstitutional. That unconstitutionality is what is still bedeviling the politics of the state. So if money comes by way of direct allocation, who takes the money? Because this is Ikeja, you have LCDA, you have LDCAs who will be money. So the money comes in, the governor gets the money, and he has to do some kind of fair allocation. That gives him a discretion that the Constitution does not envisage. This is where the problem is. So what we now need to do is to again reappraise these LCDs and compartmentalize them within what the Constitution wants it to be. So when the money comes into the state, we can then do some kind of allocation within that particular bracket. So we don't give the governor the discretion that he has now in managing local government funds. What happens now is the money comes to him and he gives the local governments, the LCDAs, whatever it has. The Constitution does not give him that discretion, and I will reappraise it and I will stop. I will use 2 governors. When Alhaji Lateef Jakonde built his houses, they are still there. It's in Mushin, Sikwari, it's everywhere. People bought these houses. Level 4, level 6, and the houses are still standing. Mr. Sanwo-Olu is from LSDPC. So he has an ostentatious attitude towards construction. What do you have in Luberi and in other places? 50 million naira, 30 million naira for low-cost housing. I don't understand. How you can imagine a level 4 officer, a level 6 officer who is not corrupt. So I will not do what they are doing, because what this government is doing is wrong. I will now look at it and build houses for the people at minimal rates. I will cost it in such a way that it's going to be affordable to the low-income earner, and it's also going to be available to the people who are there who wants to buy. So it's not going to be about 50 million. I will try and see how best I can, and I will make sure that it's nothing that is too big for them. What you need in this state and in any other state is habitable accommodation. You don't need all these ceramic things that they put in there and they come and tell you, come and pay 50 million. Where is that going to be? So I will build good houses, livable houses, cheap houses that the poor, the rich will find attractive. What they do, they build the houses, they buy the houses themselves, and then they let it out. It's wrong. This man, he said, and you look on. Warning. He should behave himself here, Jando. Listen. You see, when you talk of fish now, you don't even need to talk of any seawater. Because in recent times, we have found out that the catfish, you know catfish? The one we use for pepper soup, and the one we use to make okra and all those things, when it is dry, you don't even need anything like that. You can actually do it on the surface by building in tanks and going through a water treatment process. This one is the key to fisheries, as I understand it. So I am going to encourage that. I will make sure our youth population, give them facilities, give them loan, SMEs, to invest in that. That's number one. But going back to the water, remember, what do they call this? Obokun fish. Eh? Obokun fish is the one that you find in Jando's area. That's the word on the water bed itself. It's called Obokun. It's a Lagos State delicacy. You understand? If you go to Ekpe, you will see all those women there buying different kinds. So those fishes, they are still alive. You're bouncing like this, bouncing like bouncing. So you buy it even live. It's fresh fish. We Lagosians, we don't eat carton fish. It is because our government have failed us in this state that we now eat kote, we eat Titus, we eat all those things. We never used to do that. When I was a child, my mother takes me to Ekpe. When I win this election, I will take his deputy and make her a commissioner in the entertainment industry. Because she's a Hollywood person. You know Jennifer? Eh? So I have a commissioner and Jandor will concede. Now, more importantly, you can find out that the world is about tourism. The entire world is about entertainment. If you go to anywhere in the world, you mention JJ Okocha, you mention what all these guys, the gentlemen that are playing music now. They are the ones that are carrying the banner of this country all over the world. The sportsmen, the Nollywood actors, the musicians, they are everywhere. So what I will now do is to remove this mentality of a white-collar job from our children. When they are in school, we are going to identify the real qualities that you have. As a student, you must do one sport. So from there, we are going to be able to identify future sportsmen that will represent our state. We are going to have drama clubs from which we are going to identify entertainers. We're going to encourage, when you talk about tourism, tourism is bigger than sports or entertainment. It's a very holistic thing. What brings you to the state? Badagry is there. Badagry is there. The history of the slave trade is in Badagry. From when you take the slave, the person gets into the journey of no return, he boards the vessel. But nothing has happened in Badagry. Lagos is not a mega city. Lagos is not a mega city. Lagos has fulfilled one of the preconditions of being a mega city. We need to get this right. And that is the population. After population, you have a checklist of what the city will fulfill to be a mega city. And I say this with all sense of responsibility because I was part of the people that drafted the law, the policy control law, during the regime of Babatunde Raji Fashola, where I served as a commissioner, and I was actually the chairman of the committee that drafted that law. When I was commissioner between Fashola and Ambode, so that is not correct. Owing as a debt state or nation is not wrong. What is important is, what did you do with the money that you borrowed? You can owe. In this state, what has happened is corruption has eaten deep into the resources of this state. And I give you a clear example. You can cross-check. One company exists here. It belongs to their political godfather and his cronies. It's called Alphabeta. A certain chunk of Lagos State revenue goes to Alphabeta. We are going to stop that nonsense because it shouldn't be. It's nonsensical. If we have a revenue agency in our state, Lagos State Internal Agency, why do me? I clap for Jandor. I clap for him because he's a good man. I adopt what he has said in the last part of his submission to the effect that he said he has met everybody. He has not met me. Because I'm a senior brother, so he knows that. Me, I have experience. I used to be in the Ministry of Transport and Aviation when I was 35, understudying the Minister of Transport. I used to be in the Ministry of Power and Steel, Federal. I understand transportation like the back of my hand, and I can also assure you I was a commissioner in this state, in 2 administrations. So I come to the table with a lot of experience. I'm a Lagosian. My father is from here. My mother is from here. I've lived all my life here. I'm a stakeholder in this state. So what I desire is the good government for my people, a neat city, a clean city, environmentally friendly, where people will come from all over the world to see it as an investment haven. I promise them I will eliminate corruption in this state. Because what is killing this state And the Federal Republic of Nigeria is nothing but corruption. We must evolve a system of accountability where you have to do the job and not take the money and disappear. I am going to be a living example. Look at the School of Nursing on Awolowo Road. The place used to be School of Nursing. If you go there now, APC, they have appropriated it to themselves. They have all their posters there.